Have to start and talk. How much was that performance for Eddie Howe, wherever he was watching on from today?
Yeah, when we went to the pitch, we said we're gonna play for him. He has been part of our success. He has been unbelievable for us. So we miss him in the training out this week, and hopeful this win gonna give him a little bit of happiness. And we hopeful want to see him back for the next game. Yeah, just to give him a little bit of happiness on this tough week for him.
It's been a tough week for him, Harvey. Was he able to send you any messages ahead of today?
No, I think he's on the road to recovery, hopefully. So I think that's his main focus at the minute. But like Bruno said, he's so influential throughout the week and obviously on a match day. So we knew we had a job to do today without him, and we did that. We said that before the game. It was one of them where we need to put a smile on his face. And yeah, hopefully he's on the road to recovery. Definitely
put a smile on his face, and I think there's a fairly decent smile on yours. How good a week has it been for Harvey Barnes?
It's been good, you know. I'm enjoying it. I feel like I'm in a good rhythm of playing now, and I'm just enjoying being out on the pitch every week. So yeah, long may it continue.
Bruno, how big has his contribution been in recent weeks, and particularly today?
He's an unbelievable player. He's fun. I love him, the way he plays, the way he shoot. He's always working hard and try to help the team, and he deserves his moment. I'm very, very happy for him. Like I said, he's an unbelievable professional and an unbelievable player.
Harvey, when we spoke on Monday night, you said Newcastle weren't at their best. In the second half in particular, did we see the best of Newcastle United?
Yeah, definitely. I think first half we played well. I know that the scoreline didn't show that, but I thought we dominated the first half and created chances. I think they only had the one shot on target, which they scored. So we were happy the first half. We just knew we had to build on that, keep doing what we were doing, and the chances were going to come, and they did. You know, in the end, it was a good game and a good scoreline.
Bruno, it's 5 wins on the spin in all competitions. People talked about whether you'd be able to kick on having won that trophy. Have you exceeded even your own expectations in what you've been able to do so far?
Yeah, we're happy about what we are doing so far, but I think as a group we just think game by game, you know. Our next focus in the next game. We know we have been good, but for us it's not enough. Like we said, it was unbelievable win the cup, but we want more. It's not enough for us. We want to put our name in the club history, keep it going. So yeah, it's unbelievable what we have done so far, but we want more.
Quickly and finally, a word from both of you. How important is Champions League qualification?
Unbelievable, means everything for the club. Like we have done so far is good, but like I said, it's not enough. We want to play Champions League again next season, but we are just thinking game by game, step by step, and here we go to another one on Wednesday.
Yeah, you know, we've already had an unbelievable moment this year, and that obviously gets us European football, but we want to be in the Champions League. You know, we're proving that at the minute, game by game, and we've got ourselves into a good position in the league. You know, it's up to us. If we perform every week and get the results that we know we can, then we're going to be there come the end of the season. So it's what we want next year.
Well, listen, well done to both of you. Harvey, you are the player of the match. Bruno can't believe it, by the way. He was arguing the toss with me.
He deserves it.
But you are, do the honours, Bruno.
Well done, bro. You deserve, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah, 2 goals and his all-round performance will seal that for Harvey Barnes, despite the protestations of Bruno. So this is how it looks then in the race for the Champions League, with the positions of the teams across the top, from Nottingham Forest in 3rd, Newcastle, Manchester City, Chelsea, down to Aston Villa, with the games that they have remaining. By midweek, they will all have played the same number of games, because Newcastle have their game against Crystal Palace in hand on Wednesday night. You can see that live on Sky Sports. If everybody were to win their remaining games, Newcastle would finish in 3rd. That can't happen because they play each other, and it's not a possibility. But it just underlines how strong a position Newcastle have put themselves in.
Yeah, when you look at the games that's left for them, it's a tough run in. They've still got to play Chelsea, Arsenal, Brighton, Aston Villa away as well. So it's a tough run-in. But the run of form they're in at the moment, it doesn't matter who they come up against. I feel like they're very confident. There's a real good togetherness about this team, and hopefully they can go on and get the results they need to get them into that Champions League place.
Opta have said that Aston Villa have got the lowest chance of finishing inside the top 5. When they've looked at the fixtures, they've looked at the kind of the corresponding fixtures earlier in the season. At this stage of the season, that doesn't always necessarily play out. But when you look at it, how do you assess Newcastle's chances of finishing in the Champions League spots?
Well, they're certainly in the driving seat now, I think, with the games. They have the momentum. I was here about 6 weeks ago when they lost the cup game to Brighton, and I thought they'd do well to recover from that. I thought it was a huge setback. But my goodness, they have. They've got good options off the bench. The attacking players are on fire. Then you bring on people like Gordon with the pace. United couldn't cope with it. But this is where you find out about your squads. You look at Aston Villa yesterday, bringing quality players off the bench, 3 of them obviously scoring. So that strength and depth will be tested over the next few weeks. But for Newcastle, and what Newcastle have got used to now over the last kind of good few months, they're used to winning big matches. I think they'll deal with that pressure. I think they've got a great chance, and certainly in the driving seat to get in that to get in that Champions League spot.
And David asked the guys there whether their reaction post-Carabao Cup final win was even surpassing their own expectations. The question was asked, will this be the kind of pinnacle of their season and will they coast to the end, or will they use it to kick on? And that's what they've done, Les.
I always feel there's pivotal games in the season, and I said that about the cup final. I felt if they won the cup final, that would boost them to go on and look for that Champions League place. Although they were thinking about it, that game I think against Liverpool showed them that they can play against these big sides and win them in a cup final, and that gives everyone a boost. I said they were going to party here until the end of the season now that they'd won that cup, and there's a real nice atmosphere around the place at the moment, and the players are feeding off that. And like I said, hopefully, I'm looking at those fixtures, and you look at Aston Villa, they've still got a Champions League game to play. You look at Chelsea, they're still in the Europa. So there's some teams there that are probably looking at other things as well as the league, but Newcastle have just got the league to concentrate on now.
Yeah, and they've played fewer games than Manchester United have this season because of their European involvement in the Europa League. That is Manchester United's route into the Champions League, should they win it. But it's not going well for them at all in the league. They find themselves in 14th place, on the wrong end of that 4-1 scoreline. Here's Ruben Amorim with David Craig.
Ruben, clearly another difficult moment for you and a disappointing result. How do you reflect on that 90-plus minutes?
Many mistakes, and they were stronger in the second balls, so they were a better team. But we did a lot of mistakes that can it become harder to win a game, and that's all.
What do you put those mistakes down to at this moment in time? Is there a lack of confidence and perhaps even a lack of belief amongst some of your players at this moment?
It's a little bit of everything. It's hard to point one thing that goes wrong in these moments, but it's really hard to win against these top teams like Newcastle. And when we make mistakes that can help the opponent to score, it's harder. But let's focus on Thursday. It's really important for us.
Were some of the goals you conceded today too easy from your perspective for Newcastle to score?
I think you can see that we can do so much better. So that's it. Let's focus on Thursday. Analyze this game, but all the mistakes that we did today, we cannot do it Thursday.
I can sense the disappointment and perhaps the anger within you at this moment in time. Once again, the criticism will come from outside, from pundits, from media people. Is there the belief in your players that you can see that other people can't see? That the criticism will come, lack of running, lack of commitment in key moments. Do you understand that criticism?
I understand it. I don't care. Nothing is worse than lose games. So people can say whatever they want to say, and it's hard to I don't want to defend myself or anything like that, because if you look at our position in the table, says it all. So let's move on. It's really important Thursday, so I don't care what people say. Losing games is the hardest part by far from this job. So again, let's focus on Thursday.
How big then is Thursday? It was big before today. How big does it become now for Manchester United as a whole? Not just you, not just the players.
Of course, it's really important. We know that we have a chance to get Champions League, but let's focus stage by stage. We have an important game on Thursday. It's going to be really, really hard, but we need to focus on that and then go to the next stage.
What do you do to pick your players up, and whatever players you choose to put out there on Thursday, what do you do to instill the belief that you will need to go further in that competition in the hope of still getting Champions League football next season?
We had one season a lot like that, with difficult losses, difficult moments. So we are used to get up also. So we can do that Thursday. Let's focus on Thursday. So it's a different game when the ball, when the game starts, is a different history with our fans. We need to give something to our fans and to go to the next stage.
We spoke about Andre Onana before the game. What's your sense now? Does he come back into the reckoning for Thursday?
Everybody. Again, it's a difficult season. So tomorrow we are going to prepare the next game. He's not forgetting this game, but he's focused on the next one, because in this game, after the game, you cannot change nothing. So let's focus on the next one.
Ruben, one very final question. You've always been very open and honest with us about the task you faced here and the difficulties you've faced. But is that task a bigger task now, where you find yourselves and looking forward? And how big, in your opinion, is it to change the fortunes of this club?
We already talked about that. Let's focus on game by game. So if you think in all the pictures, sometimes it's really hard to face all the problems at the same time. Our biggest problem is the game on Thursday. Let's focus on that.
We wish you a change of course.
Thank you very much.
Well, you can understand why Ruben Amorim would want to focus on the game on Thursday rather than this defeat at St James's Park, and senior players looking very annoyed at the end of that, and we will hear from some of them a little bit later on. But in terms of the performances that we've seen from them in the Premier League, he came in when they were in 12th. They're now in 14th at the end of pretty much the end of this round of fixtures. Have you seen positives from Ruben Amorim's time at Man United?
Not at the moment. You mentioned there nobody likes to lose games. Of course not, but sometimes it's the way you lose. It's the way they give up some of the goals in the second half. Obviously some mistakes from players, losing possession. Obviously you knew Newcastle were going to put you under pressure, obviously. So that's the big hang-up you'd have. They've lost 14 league games, and they lost 14 last season. So that's why you have to point the finger at this group of players. No, the only defence I have, obviously, for a lot of the players, is a lot of them are still new to the Premier League. And the manager's new to the Premier League. I think the manager, if you spoke to him, I think he's scratching his head. He's frustrated in that interview, of course. He wants to focus on the next game, but you also have to reflect on the game today. That's where we're at. I bet you he can't believe how bad the United team is. I bet he obviously can't say that, and he's talking about recruitment this summer. But this group of players, the mistakes they're making, I've mentioned at the end of the game, they can't seem to get around the pitch. There's no power in the team. Some of the players who can run, I think there's some players who can run, but they don't want to run. That's another worry. Some of the goals they gave up, you got an experienced right back, just letting somebody run by him. Now that's the bit I would be frustrated with. But I think the Premiership has caught this manager and his coaching staff out. Even his first game where we covered was down at Ipswich. And Ipswich drew with him, and Ipswich probably could have won it near the end. And I bet you was thinking, this is tough. And I know people do their homework, and these coaches and staff, and obviously players do the homework before they go to a club. But I think he's gone in there, and I think he's been shocked at how bad this group of players are.
But how is there that gap between what the analysts will have done from his side and from Manchester United's side?
Kelly, the only thing I'd say, I still think you don't know a group of players or their qualities until you actually get in the door and start working with them. Of course you're on the outside looking in, you do your little bit of homework, of course you do. You look at players and you'll have a bit of pride and ego to think, I can improve these players, or I can make them better. That's a manager's job. And they brought in some players. But I think over the last couple of years, and before, obviously, this manager came in, I'm not putting it all on him, a lot of the recruitment was bringing players in who've never played in the Premier League. And I think it seems to have cut a lot of them out. They can't seem to cope with the demands, the physical side of the game. The lack of goals is a huge problem for Man United, because usually you look at Man United over the years and think, well, there'll be some sort of entertainment. They'll score goals, they'll get at him. But with 15, 20 minutes ago, this game was over. United fans must be looking, scratching their heads going, this game is over. There's no way we're getting back in this. We've only scored one goal. We don't score many. If anything, it was going to how many you concede. And then we took the players' decision-making. We have a goalkeeper coming in today It's difficult to get up to speed for a goalkeeper, particularly making saves. But in terms of playing out from the back and taking chances, that, to me, that's just madness. That's just common sense. That's just your football knowledge. Why take a chance at Newcastle where you're under the cosh? You're trying to chip balls into the middle of the park. That's where you have to look at the players and go, look, lads, give us a bit of a chance. And as I said, there's nothing wrong with losing football matches. The great teams lose football matches, but sometimes it's the way you lose it. And that second half, particularly from United, nowhere near good enough. It's easy for a manager to say, let's focus on Thursday. No, you have to look at today. This group of players, bit of fight, bit of spirit. They're lacking in quality, they're lacking pace, they're lacking power. But my goodness, show some fight. They didn't do that enough in the second half.
Just to pick up on the point that you're making about the players, because when Amorim came in, he came in with a great reputation of not just dealing with young players and developing them, but also of kind of older players where he was reinventing them or giving them a new lease of life. And it was widely praised for his tactical prowess. There was a lot said about the system that he wanted to play and questions asked as to whether Man United players would be able to do that. If he's not getting the message across, does that say something about the players' ability to take on instruction?
A bit of both. I think there's nothing wrong with a manager having his set ways and his philosophy, shall we say. But I played under some managers, but also you have to adapt. If you're working with a group of players and if you're constantly losing football matches, I know he's hanging his hat on Thursday's game against Leon, and he's thinking that'll get him out of jail, really, for the club getting the Champions League. But if you're losing week in, week out, or losing 14 league matches and there's still a few to go, you must sit with your staff and say to yourself, listen, it's well and good again having your mindset, but someone must say, but can we tweak it? Can we change it a little bit? Because if you keep getting beaten, and again, it's on the back of last season, obviously that's not all in this manager, then something's wrong. The players can't cope with it. There's players playing for Man United today. I go back to Eriksen. United's midfield, they're not mobile. They can't go around the pitch. Newcastle's midfield was more powerful. They were stronger. They were getting stronger as the game was going on. But Eriksen should have left Man United maybe 1 or 2 years. United's still going back to the players who I think are a major problem. Are these good players? I think some of them are. But are they good enough for Man United? Absolutely not. And sometimes, actually, that's not on the players, that's on the club for throwing them in there. You're throwing young lads into there, you're bringing Shaw back into the group, and you're hoping 1 or 2 of these senior players will help. But the signs are, again, I go back, we done the game last week. My eyes don't lie to me. I'd love to be sitting here watching Man United win a 2 or 3 and go, listen, I love everything about them. They've got pace, they've got power, they've got quality, they've got characters, they've got an outstanding goalkeeper, the spine is fantastic, amazing bench. United have none of that. Almost the opposite to what Newcastle had today. That's how far they're off it.
One of the senior players that you've looked to for leadership at Manchester United, Bruno Fernandes, has...
I'll ask you, though, is Eddie aware of the result, and has there been any reaction from him from that and the team's performance today?
Yeah, there is. I just see a message from him before I come to do the press, congratulating the performance from everybody and from the team. He was able to watch it, and I'm sure that would have lifted his spirits.
We did touch on it before the game about whether he could have any input, and I appreciate you probably had to be guarded, but are you able to let us into any secrets? Did he send any text during the game to anybody to send any words of encouragement, tactically or otherwise?
No, he sort of trusted the decisions that we'd make. We've been working together for a long time, and we was able to communicate sort of earlier on in the week, and I think he put his trust in everybody to go out there and deliver a performance that he'll be proud of, and the lads certainly delivered that.
If ever a pick-up was needed, that was certainly it. You've touched on there the performance today. How good was the performance, particularly in the second half, and what did you say at half-time?
We had to make a couple of changes at half-time, just a couple of tweaks. Felt we was probably a few yards off on our press, certainly in the attacking half, and we needed to close them gaps to be able to have more regains in the attacking half, and the lads went out there and delivered that excellently. And we felt that we could hurt them in an area the opposite side of the pitch, and again the lads went out there and delivered the tactical executions superbly well.
People always associate the word entertainment with this club. Was there a certain swagger about some of the goals this afternoon?
We certainly like to entertain, you know. We certainly like to press aggressively and to try and create chances and score goals. And we've seen it time and time again here at St James's Park. You know, the crowd makes such a difference for us. They was right behind us today. The players went out and delivered a performance that everybody would be proud of.
You're up into the top four. You win on Wednesday, you go third. How good a position have you put yourselves in? And also, you were out there leading from the front. Do you know yet whether that'll still be the case come Wednesday?
I'm not sure whether that'll be the case come Wednesday. Obviously, you know, we'll be guided to how the manager's feeling. The most important thing is his health and making sure that when he comes back, he's fit and ready to go. We've got ourselves into a fantastic position. You know, at the start of the season, you obviously want to try and finish as high as possible. We know that, you know, at the money end of the season now, with 7 games to go, every game's a cup final for us. And our aim is 1 game at a time and to go out there, prepare right for each and every game and go out there and deliver the performance that we delivered today. And if we can manage to do that, hopefully that'll be enough for the Champions League spots.
Just very finally, 94 years since Newcastle last did the league double over Manchester United. Is it a measure of where you are as a club and how much you've progressed in recent times?
I think it is. It's been a fantastic journey that we've been on as a football club. Obviously, we achieved first bit of silverware for such a long time against Liverpool, and we're hungry for success. But the most important thing is that we stay grounded. We keep working extremely hard every single day, take each game by game, and you know, hopefully there'll be much more success to come.
Well done to you all. And as we said before the game, when you see Eddie, please give him our best from everybody.
I will do. Thanks very much.
Yeah, of course, we wish Eddie Howe all the very best in his recovery. And we don't know yet if he's going to be well enough to take charge for the game on Wednesday. But it was such a good performance from Newcastle, even in the first half, which ended all square. They were on the front foot. And the opening goal, Les, was a really nicely worked one.
Yeah, it was. Manchester United tried to play out from the back and Newcastle just robbed the ball off of him. And this is a great ball from Trippier into Isak. The control thought he'd lost it there, but then this ball was sublime. Just a little clip over the top of the Man United defender, Euro there, and great finish from Tonali. As soon as it went over his head, you felt this was going to be in the back of the net, and it was a great finish. And I think what's helped Jason Tindall and the Newcastle side is that they've gone 5 games with the same team. So that in itself, kind of like guys know what they're doing, how to do it, when to do it, and you know, it just you saw that today. They were all in sync.
And when Manchester United got things working properly, they gave themselves a couple of good opportunities in the first half, Roy, and this one taken by John Atchison.
Yeah, it was a brilliant equaliser. Absolutely brilliant. Very good play again, bit of grass front to Dallo. We know he's got a little bit of acceleration. He's running at him. You're thinking, give the right pace of pass, which he does, but Ganacho's got a lot to do. One of his biggest concerns for me is always his finishing, but that was a fantastic finish. And United, again, showed good signs of hanging in there, and that's what you have to do at this level, hang in there when you're under pressure. Brilliant equaliser, 2 fantastic goals, and no complaints about this finish. Absolutely brilliant finish. No chance for the keeper.
And that's the question that Manchester United fans are asking, is if they can do that once, then why can't they do it more often? And we'll come back to talking about them in a bit more depth shortly. But Newcastle came out, and even at half-time, Les, you felt it was a game they were going to go on and win in the second half. Yeah,
because Man United scored their goal against the run and play, really, and it was just a lack of concentration. But then you saw this and, you know, Livramento going past Dallo, the way he's done is just, look,
this is...
With someone with experience, that's too easy, but Murphy does great here, just pulling it back, and Harvey Barnes following in, and...
You've got to be determined in your... It's a lovely finish, nice and simple, and they're alive, Barnes is alive to it, but you've got your right back, you've got your experienced right back, he just runs by him. He doesn't even grab him, he doesn't try and tackle him, just gives up on it. Look, he's got out there, he's got him where he wants him.
It's nothing, he doesn't do a step over
or anything. He helps him, he shows him to go outside him. Yeah. And they're alive to it, obviously we know. Look at this.
That's too easy.
I can't believe it. I can't believe that. I can't believe that defending. And we'll praise Dallo for going forward. Part of being a defender is obviously be hard to beat. It's not been hard to beat.
Individual errors for Manchester United leading to goals. Was that the case for this one as well, Les?
Yeah, it certainly was. Tried to play out there and gets it knocked back here. Again, slow. Mazraoui just falls over there, and Harvey Barnes does brilliant here. Just goes through the heart, and this is a great finish. And, you know, Roy's going to criticise he's going to have a go at the defenders here.
But someone's got to lunge at him. Someone's got to tackle him. They gave a goal away again at Forest. Was it 2 weeks ago? Someone running through the middle. Tackle him. Is my voice getting higher here? Yeah.
Just a bit.
Nobody wanted to point it out.
Lunge at
Someone
him.
just take-
Try
yeah.
and do something. How can a player run in the middle and not get touched? I can't. Brilliant from Barnes. Absolutely brilliant, taking on away from him. But again, United have been sloppy in possession. A player can slip, I get it, but you're part of a team. So if you do make a mistake, you hope one of your teammates covers for you. But no one's covering each other on this United team.
You talked about errors from experienced players who know the Premier League. Altay Bayindir making his Premier League debut for Manchester United to give Andre Onana a break ahead of the game against Lyon on Thursday, which Ruben Amorim keeps wanting to look forward to. Was he at fault for this one?
Yeah, well, of course. Again, you go back to the decision making. I'm not even sure what the big benefit. Well, of course. Again, you go back to the decision making. I'm not even sure what the big benefit. It's too risky. It's absolutely too risky. There's players around you. We go back to the highest level, the real top players. It's about your decision making. And I'm quick to defend goalkeepers when they first come into the team because I think it does take 5, 6, 7 games to get up to speed with the shots, whatever. But that basic mistake there is just honestly, I can't understand it because this is top level. This is big boy stuff. You're up at Newcastle. Newcastle are flying. You do your own homework on who you're playing against them when they're pressing you, and they say, and if you're going to go long or you're going to chip it, make sure you go too far. So then at least it's up the pitch. You can argue afterwards. But if you lose it there, you know what's going to happen. If you lose it there, someone's in on goal on top of you. That's just common sense.
It's typical of what we're watching nowadays in terms of goalkeepers trying to be precise, trying to be clever, trying to, you just put your foot through that and say, like, we're 3-1 down. Let's not go 4-1 down by making a silly mistake. But he doesn't. He just tries to clip a little dinky ball into the centre forward, and I'm just thinking, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, a number of times you've come out to face me and my colleagues, and there has been criticism after results like this. Once again, the criticism will come. Questions will be asked about players' commitment, whether you run enough, whether you want it enough. Is that warranted at times, or is it unfair, Bruno?
No, it's the opinion of other people. I can't make people have all the same opinion about me, about my players, about my team, and that's it. And I'm not obviously we're not stupid. We know the position we are. It's easy to criticize because this club has never been like this. Has never suffered in the last years the way we've been suffering this season. And then it's normal. You need to be aware that you play for Manchester United. You know the criticism will be there. You're going to get some credit when you do good things. So just you need to find the balance of the way to take it.
You've made it clear that it's huge on Thursday night, but how huge in terms of Manchester United's history looking forward? How big is Thursday now for you all?
No, Thursday is big to get into the semi-final. That's why it's big. It's big because we're going to play at home. We're going to play in front of our fans. And being in the position we are, they're being so supportive of us today. Again, end of the game, they were all there waiting for us to try to cheer us up, to try to make understand that they will be there for us on Thursday. And I'm pretty sure they will be there. They've been there all season through all bad moments. And it's time for us to understand that we need to give something back. And the Europa League, it's a chance now to get into the semi-final. This team will put everything out, as we always do. Even if the results are not always in our side, we always do. It could be that people think in different way, but we always try. I've seen my teammates. I know sometimes you even see myself frustrated on the pitch and everything. But I get frustrated because I know we are much better than we actually being. And I think my teammates, I only get frustrated with them because I know how good they are. I know how good they can be. I know how much they can do. And I know how tough it is to represent this club. And it's difficult for everyone when you are in these kind of positions because they want so much to give to the club. They want so much to win with this club because they know how much they will be remembered if they win something with this club. So going forward, we play Thursday. We're going to do it together with our fans. We're going to create a big atmosphere in our stadium. We need to be on the front foot. We need to give everything we have because we want to be in the semi-final.
Very quickly and finally, and you've spoken very well there, you know your teammates in there better than anybody. You know them professionally, you know them personally. Do you believe that amongst that group you have the ability to bounce back from something like this and still salvage something for Manchester United? Do you believe there's the character within there?
I don't need to believe. I need to see what we've done in the past. And in tough moments, we have come out and doing great performance against great teams, against the biggest clubs. This season, if you look at our results against the biggest clubs, probably where we play our best football in decisive games where everyone is watching. And this is going to be the one against Lyon, big team in France, big team with a lot of history in the European competitions. But we are Man United, so we have to step up. We have to do everything we can to win the game, and I'm pretty sure that my teammates and myself, together with all the staff, together with all the fans and the club, we will be together to win that game.
Bruno, I think you've just demonstrated why you're the captain. Well done, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Roy, do you have sympathy with the captain having to come out after so many times this season and in previous seasons, not just under Ruben Amorim, and make excuses for the performance?
Yeah, it's not easy. To be fair to Bruno, he does front up and he does come out, and obviously the club push him out because he's the best player and he's the captain. Of course, it's important what he says, but to me, it's kind of just sound bites now from him. Let's hope they win on Thursday. By the way, my goodness, that's all they're talking about. Thursday. Lyon. I think Lyon are 6 in the French league, so I'd fully expect Man United to beat Lyon at home on a Thursday. But yeah, he's talking about his teammates there and belief and all. But what about his right back who didn't put a leg out or try and tackle for the goal, Dalot? I hope he's pulling him in the dressing room, because he keeps talking about, yeah, I have belief in the players and or my teammates. A real good teammate puts demands on each other, whether that's out in the pitch or in the dressing room or on the training ground during the week. I suppose it's called the culture at your football club. So when I listen to Bruno, now, and I've been harsh on Bruno, an amazing player, but I still have question marks about his leadership, even when I watched him there in the bigger picture, and he's doing his usual stuff. But he's certainly not getting any help around him. You know, it must be tough playing in that midfield when the expectation on him is to turn up week in, week out. And obviously that's unfair on him, because when you're playing for a big club like Man United, you need a helping hand. But now when he's doing the chats about the supporters and all this, again, to me, it's just sound bites. There's not even meaning to it. Because I don't know how we can listen to the United players doing interviews anymore, because I'm not sure they're an honest group. So why should we listen to... I don't think we're going to get real honesty from this group of players when we're not seeing it week in, week out. Bruno's mentioned, it's always interesting when you're playing for a big club, they talk about they have turned up in certain games. But as if they pick and choose their games, Kelly. As if they pick and choose the games. Oh, it's Man City or it's Liverpool. Your mindset playing for Man United should be every game's a big game. So today wasn't a big game. Is that the attitude of some of them? But Thursday's a big game. I think you're in trouble if you start picking and choosing what you think is a big game. Your whole attitude should be, again, when you're playing for Man United, every game is a big game. And you go out and give your all. And the second half, for certainly a spell in this game, Man United, when they were giving the ball away cheaply and people not making tackles and making demands on each other. And again, we're at the game live, so we can see the bigger picture. Sometimes you don't see it in the television. And people not covering for each other, people not putting demands on each other. The best players I played with put demands on me, and they wouldn't tolerate me cutting corners. And as you become a player and you play 50, 100, 200 games, so then you put them demands on other people. That's what really good teammates do. They don't let you away with it. They're not teammates, they're bluffers. And this group, again, they lost 14 league games this season. They've lost 14 last year. Everyone can have a difficult spell. So what do we expect when the players come out and chat after games? They're media trained. They'll be told stuff to say. They talk about the pundits or ex-players. We're here to give an opinion. But I'd love to be sitting here at Man United winning training. You go, hey, listen, great to watch. Everything you want to see in a team. But I don't see it with this group of players. And I've seen it too many times now. Too many times for it to be a bit unlucky, or you can have a difficult spell. This has been going on for a few years now. But what's got them out of trouble over the last few years? Obviously the cup runs. They've had some good cup runs. But going on cup runs is like Man United from the 80s. You don't want to be a cup run. You want to be a cup team. You want to turn up week in, week out and compete for the big prizes. And still try and win cups, obviously. But your bread and butter, I can repeat myself all the time, your bread and butter is what you do day in, day out at your football club. And whatever these players and the manager and the coaches are doing at the training ground day in, day out isn't enough, because we're not seeing it out there. We saw Newcastle, they were at it. They looked full of energy. All we heard before the game was about resting players and the manager... Bruno, talking about next Thursday. What about today's match? Does that mean anything to anybody? Because what's the point in us turning up here?
Les raised the question earlier, is what changes do they make for the game against Lyon in terms of the personnel that mean that they're going to look better than they did against Newcastle?
Point.
Anana comes in goal.
No, maybe Casemiro, maybe Maguire. These 1 or 2 players, but they're not. It's not Ronaldo and Rooney coming back into the team, and I mean Ronaldo and Rooney in their prime, not now. So that's the strange bit about it. You're thinking, who, have I missed somebody? Who's waiting to come into the team that you're going, hey, he's world class, or he's going to be the difference? I know there's some experience to come into the team, and United are home on a Thursday night to Lyon. I expect Man United to win that game. I wouldn't be sitting back and going, oh, hey, listen, we've got Lyon at home, yeah, and we'll roll our sleeves up and we'll take care of them. Again, Lyon are 6th in the French league. United made a couple of mistakes the other night. They would have won the game. So just to dismiss today's match, I don't think it's good. That's my opinion.
Is there a possibility of prioritising, Les, that allows Manchester United to keep a certain level of momentum, of psychological momentum as much as anything? Or do you think conversely, do you think it's damaging to go into the game against Lyon off the back of a 4-1 defeat?
That's what I was going to talk about, the fact that you've lost 4-1 and the manner in which you've lost 4-1. You know, you could lose a game and go, look, we was unlucky. You know, yeah. Now let's look at Thursday. And I know that's all they've been talking about. Let's look at Thursday. Look at Thursday. But the momentum, you've got no momentum going into Thursday. You've thrown all your eggs into one basket, and that's the only basket you've got. So you have to throw your eggs into that basket. But I just can't sit here and I think to myself, it's not a tap. If you play like that, you can't turn it on and turn it off and say, right, do you know what? We're going to be a different Man United on Thursday. I don't see it happening. I just see you going into after a performance like that. I don't know what level you think you're going to get to play on Thursday. You're talking about, you know, Lyon 6th in the division, but they'll be coming to Manchester United seeing this tonight and thinking, we got a chance of beating Man United. So they ain't coming to Old Trafford thinking, do you know what, we got no chance of winning here. They'll believe they can beat Manchester United looking at that performance today.
You said you don't think as a group they have a strong mentality. How do they even set about switching that and changing the mentality?
I don't know. I think what does help, if you start getting some sort of results, or you dig in when you're up against it, get some sort of spirit in the group. I don't want to use the dreaded word, recruitment. Do they get players in the summer? Again, lads who are robust, who know the league. Because, the majority, the percentage of players they've brought in over the last year or two aren't used to the Premier League. And I think it's cut a lot of them out. I think you have to get some players who are used to the Premier League, who've played 100 or 200 games.
And there as well, Roy, how much can they spend in the summer? You know, because what you're going to lose, what you're going to sell, because we're talking about PSR, we're talking about financial fair play. What can they spend in the summer? So you can have a group of players and say, right, these group of players ain't right for me. I need new. But you ain't going to be replacing 11 players in that squad there. You're not going to be able to do that because you ain't going to have the money to do that.
And even the recruitment side of it, we're talking about getting, you always hope that you're getting quality players into United, the money they've spent, but getting it to the right characters. We hear about clubs recently, their recruitment, and Liverpool look at it, and Brentford, and it's about the character, and it's about the Bournemouth recruitment. They've got to be able to play and play at the highest level, but whereas this group don't show that. They're not robust. They don't kind of roll their sleeves up and dig out results. I don't see. Every now and again we do, and they'll pick up a good result like they did at City, and they get a draw at Liverpool. But then other teams recently go to Old Trafford. Every team's getting a bit of joy because there's no, even in Newcastle in the second half, there was just gaps everywhere. They were running through United. United don't even look big and strong. You look at certain teams in the Premiership and you hang your hat on certain things. You go, well, they're big and strong, or they're technically brilliant, or you look at Liverpool, they tick a lot of boxes. But you look at United going, well, what would you hang your hat on? What would you say they're really, really good at? They've not got a world-class striker. They haven't got a strong spine. They're not athletic. And I keep saying, see, look at United, go, I'm not sure what they're kind of good at. They're not really good at anything. They've got some half-decent players. But again, what's the saying? The league, the table doesn't lie. We look at United out on the table. But forget about the table. It's all about Thursday. Good luck on Thursday.